When you get to this point in the season, it's not about what you've done, it's about how you finish.
Yeah, we coming.
Go out here and take something that belongs to you. That's what you do. You go take what belongs to you.
If I ever lose, then I smoke too many. Yeah, I'm in the ones, you in the two. Winner, 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 winner. Winner, bury me a sinner.
It ain't about how you look. It's about how you get.
All about finding a way to play for championships.
Yeah, we coming.
You know, I don't know what we should have expected coming into today, but chaos seems like the right answer. For Champ Week,
love it.
All of these conference titles on the line, playoff spots on the line, and it has been every bit as crazy and chaotic as we thought it might be. It's a college football show presented by AT&T 5G. He's Skubie Mageza. I'm Jason Fitz, and for the next hour, we're going to get you highlights, we're going to get you reactions, we'll get you our thoughts on what the committee might do tomorrow, and we'll also keep you updated on the chaos happening in the game.
Touchdown,
There's
Bama!
a touchdown, Alabama. Like this, if you'd have asked me of all of the results we thought we might be able to get throughout the course of today.
Let's add 6 more to that score because it's now 37-17.
I'll give you all the love in the world, Skubie. Skubie's the only person I know that's been saying the Tide would roll all weekend. You've been saying it.
I've been saying it, man. Check out the Sports Nation from yesterday because I was the one to say Stetson Bennett would be the one to decide this game. 2 interceptions, just threw a pick 6, and he has not looked good.
Yeah, well, this game is nothing like what we expected. We watched Auburn move the offensive line last week against Alabama. I thought that this Georgia defensive line would come in and have a field day, dude. And, like, we were watching it together and the whole time, and I'm thinking, what the hell is Georgia doing? Like, they were blitzing more than usual, and they weren't getting to Bryce Young. Bryce Young was making some incredible plays. Like, Bryce Young, you mentioned Stetson Bennett. Bryce Young, the haves and have-nots at the quarterback position here. Bryce had a Heisman-like day and is having a Heisman-like day. Felt like every time Georgia thought they had an answer for him, Bryce was like, no, I'm better than you are.
This was his Heisman performance. Bryce Young just had his Heisman caliber performance. Give him the award right now. Just hand it to him right at the SEC championship game. 286 yards passing in the first half. First of all, that's a SEC championship record. And you talked about them getting pressure and blitzing on him. They were blitzing, and Bama was picking up every single blitz. The running backs were doing a great job, which would then leave their defensive backs on an island against those incredible wide receivers. And then this was just posted. Against 4 or fewer rushers today, and you think Georgia would be that team that can get to Bryce Young with just 4 rushers. Bryce Young is 21 of 27, 352 yards, and 3 touchdowns when they just sent 4 people.
I mean, Georgia's had no answer. And, you know, this is we wondered, Kirby Smart, you know, could you have your moment? And the stat line right now shows about 380 yards. You see it on the screen there. 380 yards, 3 touchdowns in the air, 1 touchdown rushing for Bryce Young. And
insane.
I mean, we've watched just a total and complete ass whooping. Like, there's no other way to put this. And I expected the opposite. I really thought that this was going to be the year that Georgia, with the dominance of that defense, would be able to handle it. And you know, and what I didn't want to do was let brand bias sort of influence the way I see things. So I tried to look at it not in the past and not with anything that's ever happened, and just this year. And there's been a couple of times that Alabama has looked a little lost. And so I thought, all right, we haven't seen that from Georgia for the most part, and they'd be able to get it done. They have not. This game was 10-0 at one point. Georgia was up, and I was feeling saucy. I was getting ready to talk my talk, walk my walk. Since that 10-0, I'm quick at math. It's 38-7 since that 10-0. You have 38-17 with 11:59 to go. And every time Georgia has had the opportunity to get back into this game, they have stepped on their own you-know-what.
So I have a question for you, because this is the first time that Georgia has had to go against such a high-powered offense. They got these elite receivers for Alabama. They got this Heisman-caliber quarterback, and this is the first time they've seen somebody like this. So now that we've seen it, are we worried about Georgia?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be, because Georgia, I mean, no playoff. Georgia's still going to make the playoffs, no matter what happens in this game.
Definitely.
Georgia's still going to make the playoffs, which means at some point they're likely going to have to play Alabama again. And I'm looking at this, like you mentioned, this defense. The number of times we were watching and stopping it and saying, wait, look at the blown coverages. Look at the busted back end of these defenses. Like, there was confusion, and I don't understand it. This is the most talented defense we've seen in a long time. And we got, every NFL. I even heard Mel Kiper this morning talking about there are 7 or 8 first-round players on the defensive side of the football. If you have that much talent on the defensive side of the football for Georgia, it's got to be a coaching thing. Like, they don't look ready.
Coming into this game, everyone gave Georgia the edge, essentially because of their defense and what they're able to do. This defense is historically good. They were averaging less than a touchdown a game, but then you go against this Alabama high-powered offense, and the X factor was Bryce Young. Because if he had a Heisman caliber performance, then Georgia was going to have their backs up against a wall. And the plays that he has made, Fitz, it is crazy. It is highlight caliber, just ridiculous.
So Skubie mentions X factors. This day was all about X factors, and one of them was going to be Cincinnati in the playoff conversation as they played Houston for the AAC championship game. Now, I heard a lot of people all week telling me that Houston was going to be able to compete because of this defense, so I added curiosity on this one. Desmond Ridder early finds Tyler Scott for the touchdown. Really nice throw and catch. 7-3 Cincinnati leads. Now, Clayton Tune played a hell of a tune. Had all day. Nathaniel Dell for the 16-yard touchdown.
You love this throw.
Yeah, it was a laser throw into a tight window. Now, Jerome Ford says, you know what? Why throw the ball when swiggity swooty I can go for the booty? His turbo button might be one of the best in the country. Like, every time it looks like somebody's got him, they don't. And that suddenly puts the Bearcats back up 14-10. We pick it up in the third. This was a 14-13 game at the half. As you see here, early in the third, Ridder rolls out, finds Taylor, 8-yard touchdown. So you're thinking, okay, the important thing here is, can Houston match? Can Houston keep that energy? The answer is no, because this happened. Oh, he just didn't see him. Did not even see him. Tune picked off. Bearcats take over, and all it takes is that one little window. Ridder finds Alec Pierce. Great adjustment to the ball, 28-13. Before you know it, this went from a one-point game at the half to a slaughter. Ford takes the handoff here. And again, it looks like you're doing Bo Jackson and Tecmo Bowl at this point. Like, he's just getting outrunning everybody. That made it 35-13.
They were playing well, man. Defense,
beat the drum.
Offense.
Now it's 35-20 at this point. We're in the last 5.5 or so of this game. I'm not going to say that it's over, obviously, because this has been the college football year that nothing is predictable. Desmond Ridder, 11-17, 190 and 3 touchdowns. I use the word efficient quite often. Very efficient. Jerome Ford, 17 rushes for 187 yards. Unstoppable.
Ooh-wee.
And a reminder that when they have Jerome Ford, they look like a different team. Like, when they have not played well, oftentimes it's because they either haven't had Ford on the field or they haven't been able to get him on track, Skubie. Like, this is simple. And Cincinnati, if there was any chaos that could keep Cincinnati out of the playoff, I think not only did that eliminate itself over the course of the day, but Cincinnati playing this well against Houston has given the committee exactly what they need to tip their hat and say, congratulations, I believe a group of 5 team will clearly make the college football playoff tomorrow.
Cincinnati has just taken care of their job. 24 points in 13 consecutive games. They're doing it all on offense and defense. I think they blitzed the quarterback about 7 times. They have 5 sacks as well in this game. They're playing really well on all 3 phases, and they just did what they had to do. And they're about to be the only team within the playoff that's undefeated. Because Georgia ain't going to be undefeated no more after this game. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Point. I want to credit a couple of things here. Desmond Ridder, for anyone that hasn't watched a lot of Cincinnati, Desmond Ridder is an athletic quarterback that gets around, that can make a lot of plays, that just has such control of the offense. I mentioned Ford, obviously, the running back, so good. But there are studs on the defensive side of the ball for the Bearcats, too. They can get after the quarterback. They can cover. They got a couple of guys that are going to play in the NFL. I mean, there are beasts along the entire wall for Cincinnati. So I'm looking at a Cincinnati team that started the day saying, my God, we don't want to let anybody leapfrog us, to now is going to be sitting here saying, hey, depending on the outcome of the Big Ten championship game, maybe a 3 seed's out there for them. I mean, why not think, if you're Cincinnati, you're sitting back here saying, okay, Alabama, Georgia, wherever they're going to place those 2 teams, depending on the outcome and what the final score is, Cincinnati did what we've been asking all year. Like, there's a sigh of relief from the college football community saying, thank God this didn't get complicated.
Yeah, and we can't underestimate the idea of beating the person that's in front of you, because you can easily overlook that idea. With a win tonight for Cincinnati, Fitz, that would be 27 wins in a row. That is absolutely ridiculous. Desmond Ridder throws 3 touchdown passes today. He's the 3rd quarterback to be able to do that in the AAC championship game. I mean, they're doing what they have to do, and he just takes care of the job. And, hey, Georgia just scored a touchdown. It is now 38-23. So we'll see if they can do something. 9:42 left in that game.
Yeah, that would take a serious miracle, but we will. One thing we always do, like, we're honest with you, we got a TV on the side that's got the game on for us. We're watching it the way you're watching it. So if last week is any indication, we'll absolutely be not professional and yell like children at a boy band concert the minute anything of significance happens. That I can promise you. There was other significance in around the day, though, and that comes from another matchup, because we walked into today saying Oklahoma State could win the Big 12 and actually leapfrog Cincinnati. That was the real conversation 12 hours ago. So we pick it up here. Spencer Sanders. The one thing we said all week is he had to be careful with the football. Last time they played, he had 3 picks. Well, he outdid himself this time. This is the first of those. JT Woods gets the return. I think they marked him out at the 11 there. And so we pick it up. Blake shaping up for some play action. There's just going to be unlimited puns on Blake Shapen's last name. Only his second start in his career, gets the 2-yard touchdown. Bears up 7-3 early. Pick it up. Sanders under pressure. Up, and away. That's another pick. Gives the ball away to Matt Jones.
He faced a lot of pressures. I mean, 19 of his 53 dropbacks. That's insane.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, but he didn't play smart with the ball. Shapen did here. Lofts it up to Drew Estrada, who makes a great grab for a 4-yard touchdown.
I mean, he got up there, made a great move, and got in for 6.
Shapen throws here to Tyquan Thompson. Makes a great catch for a 13-yard touchdown.
I mean, check out the acrobatics, getting the feet in. He had 6 catches, 71 yards, and a touchdown. Led all the receivers on his team.
This game was 21-6 at the half. Baylor was throttling. So we pick it up. Shapen nowhere to go here on 4th and 1 in their own territory.
I mean, it wasn't a bad decision to go for it on 4th down. Just a bad play call and a bad decision on him throwing it away.
Well, yeah, because Dominique Richardson says, I would like all of the treasure from the chest. Give me that. Runs it in from 4 yards out. Oklahoma now only down 21-13. Still 21-13 after a Baylor fumble. Sanders hits Desmond Jackson. Look at this again. Like
on his head.
I thought he was in. We were yelling and screaming, and it turns out
it looked like it for a second.
Pesky elbow.
Oh, man.
You thought that was close.
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson.
Oh, I am for.
Shut him down.
Great job by the Baylor defense.
The most impressive thing was this Baylor goal line defense, Fitz. They were unstoppable today.
Oh, my God. Yeah, 3rd and goal here. Fumble! Got to hold on to the ball. Cowboys recover, but they settle for a field goal. Significant because that makes it 21-16. So 21-16, much different than where we thought this game was going to be. This unbelievable play. Sanders drilled as he throws up. He's halfway there because he was living on a prayer. Caught by John Paul Richardson, though. Now Sanders throws it up for Ty Martin. Incomplete, but there's a flag on the play.
Oh, man.
And that flag, I at the time thought that was blocked.
Yep, and
so,
it looked like it. But
Jackson runs for 1 yard. They're getting a little bit closer. 2nd and goal comes up here. Jackson again. No, sir.
Shut him down.
Now, one idiot in the conference room watching these games with you said that they should just go ahead and let him score to get the ball back. That idiot was me. And I don't know what I'm talking about. Here,
I said
Sanders
play
rolls
it out.
Throws it incomplete, almost picked, which would have been, ironic given the way this game was going. 4th and goal. Hands it off.
Go.
He's got it. He doesn't have it.
Oh, my Lord.
It's a game of inches, as we sang for Cheez-It last year. And you know what?
Oh, man, this is so sad. I mean,
so close.
Sorry, Mr. Jackson. 7 plays at the goal line in the 4th quarter. 6 of them went to Desmond Jackson, and he couldn't get in once. This Baylor goal line defense was incredible.
Yeah, great play by Jerry McVay, by the way. Want to give him some love on this. Absolutely great defensive effort. Baylor wins the Big 12 championship 21-16. Oklahoma State stunned. Oklahoma State out of the conversation completely. And before the Cincinnati throttling, it raised at least a little bit of a question because Baylor, and if you're a Baylor fan, you're looking at this saying, man, this is one of those years. Dave Aranda has absolutely picked it up. I thought it was really significant, Skubie, if after the game was they were talking, and we see the numbers there. Blake Shapen, 23 of 28, 180, and 3 touchdowns. I think it's significant, a couple of things. You've got Shapen making his 2nd ever start, and he plays that well in a Big 12 championship game that early on was defined by adrenaline. Both quarterbacks had some regrettable moments early in this game. It felt like both offenses were having a hard time settling down. We felt like both defenses were controlling the game to the point that it felt ugly at times. But I'm watching that game, and the thing that really hit me, and like touched my heart was watching Dave Aranda afterwards, the head coach, talk openly about the players at Baylor that had seen success under Matt Rule. And then Aranda comes in, and Aranda wants to do things his way. And talking about needing to get buy-in from the players that have had success, and now he's asking them to do it differently. It was such a real and human moment from a coach saying, I understand the sacrifice it takes for all these guys to come play my way. It really hit me that, man, Baylor has set themselves up in a situation, whatever happens this year. Like, the committee's going to make their statement, but Baylor has to hang their head or hold their head high at this point and say, man, we won the Big 12, and we established that we are here to continue a level of excellence in the Big 12.
And mind you, this is just year 2 with Dave Aranda. In 2019, he led that LSU championship defense to a 15-0 season. Goes to Baylor, right, during the COVID year. They finished 2-7. Not the greatest start. They come back with him this season. He has the whole offseason with the team. And I sideline reported this year for Baylor's game when they were unranked against Kansas. I was there, and I saw them play in person. And I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, this team is good because they can hit, they can run the ball, they can do just about everything. And now Dave Aranda takes them to the Big 12 championship in his second year with this team, and they win it as an underdog. Just absolutely incredible. And this team is adopted his personality. They go about their business like Aranda does, and they just get things done and keep it moving. And another note, I have the Baylor SID's Sports and Information Director's number, and I was trying to see if we could get one of the players to come on the show and talk to us. And or the coach, and he was like, oh, sorry. Getting to work after this win. He knows what it is.
I mean, I was really stunned a couple of years ago. The last year for Matt Rule, I was traveling with Game Day. We went to Baylor, and the facilities, the passion, the fan base, like, it's all there. Like, everything's there. But I think a lot of people thought when Matt Rule walked away that Baylor would take a step back. For Dave Aranda to come in and do what he's done, man, I think it's really significant. And in the Big 12 that's trying to figure out who's going to be the big brands moving forward, I mean, Oklahoma State had home field advantage in this game. It was absolutely orange in that stadium, and it didn't bother Baylor one bit. I want to get you updated on a couple of scores. Cincinnati's up by 15, about 4 minutes to go there. So we'll keep you updated on anything you need to know there. There's 8 minutes left in the SEC championship game. Georgia has forced a 4th down punt. They now have the ball back, but they are down by 14. So they have a long way to go in 8 minutes, but believe me, if that chaos ensues, we'll be the one screaming our heads off. In the meantime, tonight, the Big Ten championship will be decided. Number 2, Michigan. Standing in their way is number 13, Iowa. Remember when they were number 2? Our own Tom Van Haren is in Indianapolis, and he sent us this amazing report.
I'm here at Lucas Oil Stadium for the Big Ten Championship. We all predicted at the beginning of the season, right? No one predicted Michigan and Iowa would be here. I actually had a tweet from some Michigan fans who said they booked a vacation earlier this year for this weekend specifically because they didn't think Michigan would be here. But here the Wolverines are after an exciting win over Ohio State last week. Now they have a tough test in Iowa. The defense for the Hawkeyes, they lead the nation in interceptions with 22. Michigan knows that. They're going to have a similar game plan as they did against Ohio State. They're going to try to run the ball with Hassan Haskins and try to use that high-power offense to keep the ball away from Iowa. And if Michigan can do that, limit the takeaways, they know Iowa ranks 100 among all FBS programs in points scored per game. If Michigan can put up points, they can run the ball. I think they'll come out on top against Iowa. We'll see what happens. We're probably in store for a good old-fashioned Big Ten game here in Indianapolis.
Shout out to our great graphics team for the van cam work. That was well done, subtle. Thanks, Tom. Now it's time for our AT&T countdown to the CFB National Championship. A huge part of Michigan's success this season, as Tom mentioned, the running game. And they'll look to Hassan Haskins and Blake Corum once again tonight to not only bring them a Big Ten title, but also a spot in the college football playoff. Let's be very real. We all know what they're playing for, and it's bigger than just the conference championship. Now, as great as they are running the football, and as much as we see all of this Michigan love here, Skubie, we got to ask a question about Iowa. Like, we talked a lot about the things that Iowa lacks with elite speed. Of the day, are we underselling Iowa's ability to compete in this game?
There was something good that we saw from Iowa early on this year, and that good thing was their defense. And their defense is going to be the X factor in this game. This game is going to come down to the run game. Who's going to be able to stop that run game, and how is that front four for Iowa going to be able to play against this Michigan defense? I think it's a matchup that they want to keep close towards the end of the game. As long as things don't get too out of hand, Iowa can stay in this.
Yeah, and also I want to say quickly with this Iowa defense, we talk about turnovers all the time. There are two types of turnovers. There are unforced errors, or there's actual turnovers. Let's give Iowa a little bit of credit for the turnovers that they create. I mean, at some point, we continue to say, well, just don't turn the ball over. That ignores the fact that Iowa creates turnovers. Iowa forces mistakes. So the concept that just don't turn the ball over and you'll beat Iowa also forgives the fact that Iowa is capable of creating turnovers. I think that's a huge part of this game. Now, the other side of this, to me, is there is a little concern in my mind for a letdown game. And I know that sounds crazy
that's a great point.
when it's a Big Ten championship game. But, man, last week, Michigan, Ohio State, that was everything. Like, that's the game you put everything into. I don't know if you have the same, as weird as it sounds, like, it feels real to me.
And that's such a great point, because for the Oklahoma Baylor game, Mike Gundy in the pregame was speaking to Mike McGrath, and he said the team was kind of down and they had to recharge because after that Oklahoma game, it was such a barn burner that they had to kind of recharge. And he said in the middle of the week is when they started to kind of lock back in. And I wonder if that played a factor for them going against Baylor. And that same concept comes up in this game for Michigan against Iowa. Let's not forget, Iowa has won its last 6 games against AP top 25 ranked opponents. I mean, that's a second longest streak besides Alabama. So they can play towards high talent. And this is that game where they're going to have to play against high talent.
Yeah, and for anybody that's ready to tweet me that I'm anti-Michigan, like, freeze your thumbs. You'll see my rankings later on, because I think one thing that's important here is that Michigan's playing, again, not just for a Big Ten championship. That's great. But Michigan's also playing for, now, the number 1 seed.
Yes.
Like, think about what's at line, because Alabama right now is beating Georgia handily. It's 4th and 10. We'll see where this goes for them. But they're beating Georgia. Georgia will not be the number 1 team in the country. Now, it's easy to say Alabama will simply supplant them, but I don't know. I mean, I watched a Michigan team that went in with a level of physicality we didn't expect against Ohio State, that handled an Ohio State defense that's one of the best in the nation with a pass rush that just absolutely looked beastly. Like, I mean, Michigan's got a real shot at the number 1 seed now.
Yeah, and that pass rush was led by one bad man, Aiden Hutchinson. He had 15 pressures in one game. That's ridiculous. I mean, that's the most ever since they started keeping the stat by Pro Football Focus, and that's absolutely insane. 3 sacks, 13 on the year. He's now become a Heisman candidate. They have him as the 3rd betting favorite at this point in time. So he is the X factor in this game when you talk about defense.
I am, by the way, stunned. We're seeing Georgia punt the football. I know it's 4th and 15. There's not a lot of not a lot you can hope for that, but they're down a lot with not a lot of time to go. I don't understand anything the coaches are doing. That pass rush, by the way, Aiden Hutchinson, I've heard a couple of people over the last few days say, man, he's just got himself paid, because we've all been thinking that Kayvon Thibodeau out of Oregon is going to be the number 1 pick in the draft. Hutchinson just showed you some tape that he's been showing you all year. I think there's a real
conversation. He wrecked that game by himself. And like 15 pressures, that's insane.
And if you can run the football and you can get after the passer, you have a shot in any game. That's what Michigan can do. All right, so before we make our picks, we thought we'd be fair and show you how our picks have been doing. Guest pickers, 2-1. We've only had a few of them chime in. Skubie, 5-1.
I like where I'm at.
I mean, look at that. Harry Douglas, who you now can watch on Countdown to Game Day in the mornings, 6-2. That's good work by Harry Douglas. I'm pretty happy at 10-2.
I have been on the show long enough to have that extensive record, but hey, that's impressive, Fitz.
We're shooting the same percentage. Like, I'm 5-1. If 10-2, that's the same. I'm not good at math. I just know if I double both of those numbers, they'd be the same. So that tells me they're the same. Somebody can figure out what the actual percentages are. I'm not smart enough. So let's get our picks in for tonight. Skubie, who you got?
I got Michigan still winning this game, even though I think Iowa can keep it close. But Michigan, this is your chance. Go ahead and do it, baby. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would love to find a reason to make this game something different because it's been such a chaotic day. Michigan's a great football team, and Michigan's a great football team with great running backs and a great defensive line. I'm looking at Michigan right now saying, man, the world is your oyster, and Michigan's got to be thinking about this game as a statement to the committee because if they make that statement, they'll get the number 1 seed. And the number 1 seed means they'll likely get an easier matchup in the first round of the playoffs. I think they come out fired up in part because of today's action. So I feel like I feel pretty strong about this one. We're both taking Michigan. You guys can add us later when we're wrong. I know you will. In the meantime, join us for the CFP All Access virtual experience. Go to ESPN.com/CFP All Access to pre-register now. Enter to win a trip to this year's national championship game in Indianapolis. Scooby and I will both be there. A whole host of digital talent will be there. If you want to call us talent, I don't know. But we'll all get to hang out. Come hang out with us together. There's some scores for you. Cincy is running out the clock. It's basically over. Cincinnati is going to win the AAC. I could not be happier for the school,
for you.
the city, or for college football. It looks like Cincinnati is going to win the AAC and cement their spot in the college football playoff. The only question left is going to be where. And Alabama's up by 14, 38-24 with 7:08 to go. Alabama has the ball after Georgia punted. I mean, I guess, you still believe in that defense, but my God, look at the line on Stetson Bennett. 26-41, 321, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Now, you might be saying that doesn't look drastically different than Bryce Young. It has been. There's just no nice way to put it.
The eye test is one way to put it, I guess.
And Brock Bowers has had a big game. That's the weird thing about this game, Scooby, watching it play out is Bowers had some big games. We saw some big catches along the way, and Georgia's had some highlight moments. Just Alabama's been the better team since the opening kick.
Yeah, and that's what it's looked like. They've just kind of had this offense overpower them, and not necessarily in the sense of physicality, but just athleticism, speed, and decision-making. And Bryce Young, what a Heisman performance.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so impressed with what he's been able to do.
We will keep you updated on that game as it comes to an end, no matter how it comes to an end, for sure. In the meantime, though, let's get some love to some of the other conferences in college football. Utah State taking on number 19 San Diego State for the Mountain West Championship. Logan Bonner drops back, throws it up. Oh, look at that toe tap. He's Danny Kaye. Go watch White Christmas, kids. It's on Netflix, and it's a classic Christmas movie. Utah State up early, 7-0. Now, Calvin Tyler Jr. turns on the Jets, breaks a few tackles, says, you cannot stop me, you can only try and contain me, and that's futile.
His power is beyond your understanding.
14-0, Utah pulling away. Logan Bonner again, chaps back here, and he's going to say, up, and away. It's in the air. And what?
Peace.
I mean, nobody's even near him.
That's
look
easy
at him.
peasy.
He's tiptoeing through the tulips. Utah State pulling away 21-3. That's not enough. How about some more? Look at that. Utah State was full Transformers, more than meets the eye in this one. 29-6.
Okay.
The 80s references are coming out hard here. Fourth quarter. Look at this. I mean, that's just a pretty bullet.
Nice grab. Strong hands.
Justin McGriff in the end zone, 39-6 there. And then look at this run. Straight up the middle. Calvin Tyler Jr. burns the defenders. Fumbled into the end zone, but Jordan Nathan recovers it. It's one of those days for San Diego State. Sorry, Kirk Morrison. You know I love you. San Diego State not able to get the job done. Utah State wins 46-13. That's an upset, by the way. 46-13.
It's more than an upset. Dang.
That's a butt whooping. All right, let's keep the fun going for some of the other conferences. The Sun Belt Championship. App State taking on Louisiana. Billy Napier coming out one more time before taking over at Florida.
Louisiana.
Levi Lewis here avoids the pressure. Oh, just a nice little play. Still sets his feet, makes a beautiful throw. Michael Jefferson, 27 yards out. Raging Cajuns up 7-0. Shout out to my buddy Tracy Broussard, drummer for Blake Shelton. Raging Cajun through and through.
He's out.
Lewis takes it there himself and just turns the burners on. Is that a quarterback? No, it's a meteor. And he's going for the end zone.
Zoom.
Raging Cajuns up 14-0. Later in the second, Cameron Peoples breaks the tackle.
To my people!
Look at that. Look at that. People are people. In the end zone, App State cuts the lead to 14-7. Fourth quarter, Amani Bailey here. Going to take the handoff. Look at that little move at the line of scrimmage and then dancing. Absolutely weaving his way through. That put Louisiana up 24-10. Score update for you here. The Raging Cajuns have won the Sun Belt by way of a 24-16 win. Congratulations to everybody involved in that, including Billy Napier, who's now going to be the new coach at Florida and can leave on such great terms for a program that loves him. Let's go next to the MAC championship. Kent State taking on Northern Illinois. Sean Lewis, I mean, that is a beard right there, man. That is just a college football, I've been grinding all fall beard. Oh! Dustin Crum throws, picked up by C.J. Brown. Big six! Huskies up 24-3 at that point. Fourth quarter.
We out here.
Rocky Lombardi.
What a name.
I know, it's just great. Fakes the handoff. The entire Golden Flashes defense, they had no idea what was coming there. Northern Illinois goes up 31-10. More Lombardi again.
Got
here.
him.
If at first you don't succeed.
Wrong way, sir.
Oh, and then look at this. Northern Illinois beats Kent State 41-23. That's a little Maxim for you there as they get the MAC championship. Congratulations to them. Let's throw back to last night. A little bit of Vegas love. Allegiant Stadium, home of the Pac-12 championship. Oregon taking on Utah. Remember just a couple of weeks ago we saw this game when Oregon still thought they were a playoff team. Thought we might have seen some revenge here. Anthony Brown throws it to the wrong team. Devin Lloyd says, you know what would be fun? Jackpot! It's Vegas reference. Ka-ching. Utah up 14-0. First pick six in a Pac-12 championship game since 2018. Third quarter, Cameron Rising. The little fake move. And then he turns around and says, I have burners. I shall score! Or get close. Still counts. 41 yards. Doesn't really count yet. Now it's going to. They'll get the score here. TJ Pledger runs it in from 4 yards out. Kyle Whittingham gets a Gatorade bath, and deservedly so, for a Utah team that has dealt with incredible loss and tragedy that most football programs could never experience all in a year, and he manages to bring everybody together and win the Pac-12 championship. We could make a lot of this about the failings of Oregon and why Oregon has looked like a college football playoff fraud. But we could also instead turn around and make this about Utah, who get the Pac-12 win. They get the title. Absolutely incredible win for them. They advance to the Rose Bowl, which is beyond significant for these programs. As I say, there's been a lot of tragedy around the Utah Utes this year, and they turn around and they get this. And, you know, I'll steal this from my buddy Braden Gall this morning on Champ Drive Radio on ESPN Radio. They do a great job of previewing the games on Saturdays. And he said, look, if we had an expanded playoff, the team right now that nobody wants to face, Utah. Yeah. Like, I know we talk about the Pac-12. You and I have talked about this all year. The Pac-12 is much different than it was 10 years ago. And for all of the conversation that's going to come about Lincoln Riley being there, Whittingham has done a beautiful job with this Utah team. He has done an incredible job with a very senior-laden and older football team, getting them really ready for this. I thought Oregon would come out and just be out there to punch. And instead, Oregon got punched over and over and over again by a clearly better football team. Yeah, and I honestly picked Oregon to win this game. And I wish I didn't say that because now I look like a bozo for saying that. But Utah has completely smashed them. I mean, they gave Oregon two of their largest losses of the year in the season. And they're the first team to do it twice against an AP top 10 ranked team in the same season over that span. So it's really impressive to see what they can do. They can play great defense. They can play great offense. And it seems like they're hitting their stride right now, right? And if it was an expanded playoff, this isn't a team you want to see. Well, and look, there are still bowl games that have such meaning. And in a college football playoff world, we make everything about that. The Rose Bowl, I mean, we all know how significant that is. And to think that we're going to get Utah in the Rose Bowl is a great moment for the program. It's a great moment for Coach. Really, like, as a show, we just want to say congrats to everybody there. We'll get you caught up on a couple of scores. Cincinnati, it's over. Cincinnati has won. Cincinnati, is, in my mind, has made the clearest case they could possibly make that they belong in the college football playoff. So that one, stick a fork in it. It's
congrats,
done. Y'all. Alabama, with it looks like 2:18 left, is up by 14 with the ball. Strangely, as I mentioned earlier, Georgia was stuck on a 4th and 15 at about midfield. They decided it to punt and let their defense do the work. But it's been the case for this entire game. That defense ain't getting the work done. I mean, a bunch of guys that I still think of incredibly highly have not brought their A game at all here. And kudos to Alabama. I can't say this loud enough. I was wrong. So, Alabama fans, y'all are right. And I know my Menchies will be a mess. Rightfully so. Absolutely wrong about the way this game is going to play out. Georgia's defense was not ready for the challenge.
Yeah, not ready for Bryce Young. That's what it was. He has not had 421 yards in the air. That's a SEC championship game record.
And let's see if Alabama tries to pour some points on at the end just for good measure with seeding on the line.
They should.
In the meantime, we were talking about Lincoln Riley. And I want to go back to that for a second because this has been a strange week for coaches, right? We've all talked about it. Every single college football has talked about it. And as you can see here, Brian Kelly no longer at Notre Dame. He's now at LSU. Marcus Freeman, the defensive coordinator at Notre Dame, will take over. Lincoln Riley leaves Oklahoma to go to USC. And I'll say this. I genuinely believe that Lincoln Riley to USC is the most significant coaching hire we could have seen, we have seen in years, and we will see in years because of what it does to the attention we pay. And for me, this is all about, can we get eyeballs? Like, I've sat in the room before when the Pac-12 commissioner complained about the fact that late night kickoffs means that nobody's talking about Pac-12 football, and they want to be more a part of the conversation. You can't tell me that Lincoln Riley to a brand like USC, a brand of a coach to that brand of a college, doesn't suddenly mean people will pay more attention to West Coast football. And in a year where we're talking about Utah going to the Rose Bowl and Oregon is consistently good, like, you can look at these things. To me, Lincoln Riley is an attention getter for USC, and that's what Pac-12 football needed. The entire conference needed Lincoln Riley.
And it's going to make it for such interesting competition. I love the fact that they got him, and I love the fact that he's there. The Pac-12 is about to get a lot more competitive, if you would say, and you make a great point, Fitz. It's going to get more eyeballs, and everybody needs to pay attention to it more because Lincoln Riley can recruit, and he is going to have some high-caliber players playing at a high level there.
Yeah, and look, they're going to find a way to get earlier kickoffs for sure because people are going to want to watch these USC games. So instead of being buried at 10:30 Eastern, you're going to find those in the next few years. I'll bet you anything at 3:30 Eastern. Now, Brian Kelly heads to LSU, and we can all make fun of the accent, fine. But the other side of it is this. Brian Kelly is the winningest coach in Notre Dame history. And he just left Notre Dame, where Michael Luke Jr. can constantly tell you it's incredibly hard to recruit to Notre Dame. Like, the standards academically are very difficult. It is not an easy place to go out and just assert your dominance. Anybody can recruit at LSU. Heck, we've seen coaches that are not as highly regarded win national championships at LSU. So to me, Brian Kelly's got to win. I hate to be this guy. I hate to be like the hot take guy, but one title isn't going to get it. Like, one title got Coach O fired. Like, one title gets coaches removed from, like, you're paying him basically $10 million a year to win multiple championships.
Yeah, and he's got to be looking at it like, oh, if Ed can win a championship there, then I can win a championship here as well. And just to update you guys real quick, Alabama went for it on 3rd and 9. It's about 2:03. They got shut down. So we'll see what they end up deciding. It looks like they're bringing the special teams unit on. But Brian Kelly to LSU, he's going to have a chance to recruit over there, and it's not going to be as hard, as you mentioned, as Notre Dame.
Yeah, the expectation, though, is very simple. Because everybody talks about the last 3 coaches at LSU have won a national championship. One of those was Nick Saban, one of those was Les Miles, and one of those was Coach O. Let's acknowledge, even though Les Miles may not have been the coach he was fired for winning 86% of his games. He just didn't beat Saban enough. So he got fired. Coach O wins a national championship, and for a lot of reasons, not just what's happening on the field, he's now been let go. So let's just be real. Brian Kelly's going to go in, and immediately they're going to say, okay, this has been a top 5 recruiting class the last several years. Make more of this talent. We're going to make more of our talent now by doing one of our favorite things on this show that we love to do.
Yeah.
Playing the banjo. It's time for Holy Cow. It's where we show you some of the best. Today's the special version because it's the last college football show of the year with Skubie and I. We're going to show you some Holy Cows from today and some Holy Cows from the season. We're going to show you great plays, play you the banjo music, and we're going to rank them. We'll start with Zachary Franklin. Look at this 14-yard touchdown catch.
Ooh.
This is yours to rate. What do you think here?
You know what? I'm going to give this a 90. That's great concentration. Way to get the ball in.
He was trying out for Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey with the juggling on that catch. I like that 90. Okay. Well, let's keep things going here. I'll keep going with my next score.
Okay, let's see what it is.
We saw this one earlier. Baylor. It's up. Blake Shapen throws a perfect touchdown pass to Tyquan Thornton.
Way to make a play.
I mean, you just look at all this. It's nice.
Toe drag swag.
But you know what? Don't let the Christmas sweater fool you. I'm not feeling as froggy with the scores.
Oh, you're not?
I'm going to be tough on this one. It's an 83. It's a good throw.
That's some disrespect.
I mean, it's a good throw. Though.
All right.
And here we'll go with the Baylor
Will
pick.
this make me say, holy cow?
Oh!
Ooh!
And look at the pick there.
Take it all away, big man!
Catches the INT after the hit.
Ooh. I wanted a thick 6. I'm more holy cow on the hit because he folded him like a lawn chair. I love to say that. I'm going to give it a 77, though. Great
athleticism that requires from a big boy. All right. And we'll do a turn on the Jets. When you're a Jet all the way. Levi Lewis keeps it on the zone read.
Like
Just
a meteor, right?
Turbo buttons, everybody. I mean, that's filthy speed. That is tried. Because that level of speed I'll never understand unless it's on Madden. So I'm giving it a 90.
Hey, maybe his speed will be 90 in Madden.
Well, you know, that at least with those level of burners. So now what we want to do is give you some of the best holy cows from the year. We don't need to score these because they wouldn't have even been considered unless they got some of the best hundreds of the year. It starts with this insane one-handed interception by DJ Graham versus Nebraska. Oh, yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. Still the play of the year.
Oh, my God.
Kidding me?
I mean, I could watch that all day long. If he's like, I don't know how he doesn't get that memorial.
Yes.
Reaction to Spencer Rattler's career so far. That's a reaction to the pick. Next up, Florida State's Lawrence Toafili takes the pass down the sideline. And then
for it. Whoop.
Got him up. Stays up.
I ain't done yet. The camera thought I was, but I ain't done yet.
I mean, the forward roll into the acrobatics, like.
When the camera gets tricked out, that's how you know it was something special.
Now,
the balance, too, man.
Got to give a little bit more love to the play that we all know was the play of the year. Caleb Williams. It looked like they were shut down on fourth down. He rips the ball out of the shutdown running back's hands and forces Oklahoma's way through. That's what helped seal the win against Kansas. Incredible heads-up play.
Huge moment right there for their season and that game.
I mean, just brilliant work from them. Those are your college football season. Don't worry, we were all that confused. We weren't confused today. Cincinnati taking on Houston. Jerome Ford takes the handoff. Rumbling, stumbling, bubbling, all the way down for 42 yards. That score made it 35-13. Bang the drum. Bang the drum. Cincinnati goes on to win the game 35-20. Clayton Tune had a better game than his stats show, but this game was all about Jerome Ford and his unstoppability as he goes in there. And congratulations to Cincinnati. Now, if you were wondering what that means for the college football playoff, let's not forget, Baylor took on Oklahoma State and answered that question for us. Desmond Jackson springs it to the outside. We all thought he was going to score. He's going to show off that big league speed. But
too slow.
Far away. I like the fact that he laid out between the football and the pylon. It just wasn't quite there. By the way, great play by Baylor safety Tyron McVay on an island to force Jackson short. 21-16. Oklahoma State, they gone. Baylor's now just going to have to sit back, hope and pray that through some of this, that the committee will decide that Baylor's resume makes them more deserving. I just don't think the rest of the scenarios played out in the way to help. One thing that I do wonder, now that we've seen all this chaos play out, I don't believe there's any chance that Notre Dame gets into the college football playoff. Sorry, Mike Golick Jr. They needed a lot of things to break a certain way. Cincinnati winning was really the thing that eliminated that for Notre Dame. But I think that would be different for once, let's say it, if Notre Dame was in the ACC. Like, their contract would only allow them to join the ACC. So imagine if tonight Notre Dame was playing Wake Forest, the number 16 team in the country, for the ACC championship.
And they smacked them.
Yeah.
about Notre Dame at that point in time. And mind you, quick update, it's 41-24, 37 seconds left. Alabama's going to win this game. But Notre Dame, this is that point in time where you got to be looking at yourself like, dang, like I wish we had one more game to just show the committee that we should be in the CFP.
Yeah, because part of their problem right now is that realistically, they no longer have a win against a ranked opponent. They needed the opportunity for a signature win. Everybody always yells, well, you can't help who you play. Well, neither can Notre Dame. But that's going to be part of what the committee has to look at now. And so the body of work for Notre Dame just sort of falls flat through all of this. That's why they needed so much help. They got a little of the help in the sense that Oklahoma State lost, which I thought would leave a window for them. But the two other things that could not happen for them to make it was obviously Notre Dame needed Cincinnati to lose. And frankly, I think they needed Alabama to get rolled. And instead, Georgia. So we'll get you a scoreboard here, show you some of the action that's out there right now. And it's that. Alabama 41-24, 37 seconds left. They're congratulating each other on the sideline. This is it. I mean,
they smacked him. This is how you play.
This might be the best Georgia team we've seen in a long, long time. There's no doubt about it. It is. And they are going to get their butts whooped. And now they'll get another look at Bama in the playoff, possibly. But as many see how this one shakes off from Georgia, because getting your butt whooped by Bama like this, man, that can hurt. We're sitting here saying, bruh, to Georgia, so why not say it a little bit more to some other action? We've celebrated the good, now we must celebrate the bad. It's the facts of life. Look it up, kids. Great theme song. Skubie, are you ready for some bruh?
Let's do it. It's about to get B-A-D, bruh.
All right, bruh, delivered by Pizza Hut. Let's take a look at some of the more questionable moments from the weekend in college football. First and foremost, Cameron Rising is falling. Woo!
Ooh.
He got knocked out.
Man, he got folded like a lawn chair.
He just lived to see another down.
Yeah.
They did see a win for Utah, though. So, at the end of the day, I think Cameron is still feeling pretty good about that. Let's get some Christmas love next. You might be asking yourself, how? Well,
Tis the season.
how about wide receiver Trayvon Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer? Had a very shiny helmet. Bounced off the back of that shiny helmet.
Come on now, man. Come on. Hey, bro. They say you got to use your head when you play ball, but not that way. Come on, bro.
At least he was awake, which is more than we can say for our next highlight. Kent State linebackers forgot that Rocky Lombardi's not only a badass name, but apparently it's a badass running quarterback in this one play. Nobody expected Rocky to go with it. I just wanted dun 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 dun. There we go. That's all I want.
Hey, listen, man. At the end of this fight, they just wanted to go home because at this point, nobody wanted to play, bro.
On the list, kickers can do it all.
Bing bong.
Oh! The witch is dead. San Diego State's Matt Aranda delivers a massive hit. I mean, dude can punt, dude can kick, and dude can just absolutely throw down.
Dang, Ariza's a riser. The guy's doing it all, and he's become one of my favorite kickers in the entire college football world.
Well, in the spirit of the season, why stop
like
there?
Your shirt,
we decided, if I'm going to be this level of happy, let's be this level of happy with some of the best bros of the entire season.
Let's run it up.
Let's get some of the ultimate bros. And it starts with, this one. We can't forget Florida State trying the onside kick.
Oh, my Lord.
I mean,
Parker, bro. You need to park yourself on the bench for that. Dude, come on, bro. Do you practice that?
That was well done by you. The ball stayed parkered right there. All right, next up, all the way back in week 2, Ohio State, the drum major was fired up, but he forgot, I can understand it, the adrenaline of the home crowd. Woo!
Nobody saw it. Quickly, let me get up.
Everybody saw it. And he wasn't even high knee in his run out. Like, if you watch some of the really great ones that got, the big swag, he's got no chance at swag.
It's the shoes. Come on, bruh.
And then let's go to this last bruh, one of the best of the year. Braylon Allen, you're like, why are we brahing this? The only thing that can tackle him?
Goal!
The net. Get the biscuit in the basket.
Oh, my Lord. Hey, they had that thing too close to the sideline, but it stopped his momentum.
Yeah, that's about all you can say. Best of bruh from throughout the course of the season. Bruh, delivered by Pizza Hut. Well, and the ultimate bruh would be Alabama just thumping Georgia 41-24. It is now final. Alabama your SEC champions. So congratulations to Nick Saban and everybody with the Tide. We'll get you more on that later. But tonight, the Big Ten championship will be decided. Number 2, Michigan. Sorry, I'm in the wrong spot. ACC championship will be decided. That's what happens when you can't read. Obviously, all eyes will be on that. You can authenticate in the app, and you can watch that right here on ESPN.com or in the app. Now, the question is going to be Kenny Pickett. And Kenny Pickett is the quarterback for Pitt that everybody's been talking about. And, you know, there's a couple of things here. Number one, can Pickett improve his Heisman standing? I think we both agree after what we saw from Bryce Young, that's probably pretty difficult to do in this defense. But, Skubie, there is still draft prospects. It means a lot to him.
Yeah, Kenny Pickett has been playing at a historic pace. He's taken this program to a historic level. This season is historic, in fact. And it's a chance for him to just show off in front of everybody because he's going to increase his draft stock. Look at it, 40 passing touchdowns this year. Dan Marino had 37, so he's already broken that record. And Kenny Pickett, I'm sorry, bro, Bryce Young is the Heisman. It has been decided, but it's going to be fun to see him play tonight, especially on the primetime stage.
All right, so who you got in this one?
I'm going to take Pitt because they have a great defense as well. It's not just offense for them. They have a defense that can actually make some stops.
I actually like that call a lot, but I'm taking Wake. He's come on the show and hung out with us.
So we got a chance to separate our win percentage tonight.
Oh, my God, I never thought about that. Obviously, that game coming up at the top of the hour, you can watch that right here in the ESPN app. All you have to do is authenticate, hang out with your cable provider to put all the info in there. You don't have to go anywhere. You can watch all the football you want. Also, of course, the game is on ABC. You can check it out there, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Skubie!
Yeah.
If there's one thing I know, it's that this Christmas sweater looks great. I'm going to keep mentioning it all show.
Do the thing.
This is the thing that's going to happen all show. If there's 2 things I know, it's time to drop in as we take a look at some of the crazy and twisted plays from Week 14 presented by Twisted Tea. Let's start with the play. We've watched it a few times, but I could watch it all day. We thought he had it. We were yelling in the conference room. We thought Jackson was going to score, but it's a game of inches.
Oh, my Lord. This is such a disappointment for the OSU fans, but it's great for people.
Let's go! Next up, we've got Southern Illinois wide receiver Landon Lanier going full touchdown. Wow. I don't know why I sang it like that, but that's a beautiful touchdown.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Landon. What a great caption.
I can only hope that his girlfriend's named Lois Lane. Next up, Northern Illinois, Trayvon Rudolph. Look at him there. Oh, patience on the sideline. Says, I shall stick my feet in this clay so I can get this. It's beautiful work.
Hey, Rudolph, you use your head the other play, and now this play, you use your head and your feet. Way to make a play, boy. Way to make a play.
Well done. Now, all joking that the V Foundation means so much to be a part of the ESPN family. This is a little bit of Stuart Scott telling us during his lifetime about his battle.
I'm still here. I'm fighting. I'm not losing. But I got to amend that. When you die, that does not mean that you lose to cancer. You beat cancer by how you live, why you live, and in the manner in which you live.
The V Foundation established the Stuart Scott Memorial Fund 7 years ago, helping. Since then, the fund has rewarded nearly $15 million to support minority scientists and to better understand the cancer disparities experienced by patients from minority ethnic or racial populations. ESPN and the V Foundation are proud to support this fund in Stuart's honor. And you can support as well by visiting v.org/Stuart. Now, obviously, there's no easy way to segue back into fun, crazy energy, but that's what we try and do on this show. So we're going to do it now the best way we know how. Skubie, give us some routed, brother.
You see the name behind me? It's routed. I'm going to show you what some of the top wide receivers in the country did today in their routes to glory because these wide receivers did some art. Let's check it out. First up, I'm going to tell you to look at Drew Estrada. Top of the screen uses a beautiful screen to make reservations for 6. The DBs were not ready. Sometimes it's about the play design, Fitz, and this is such a well-executed play for the touchdown. They call this a pick play, and it's tricky sometimes because they can throw the flag. But here, they got routed. Estrada, way to get him into the end zone and get your team the 6 and the dub. Now up next, Cincinnati wide receiver Tyler Scott, bang, wide open. Right here, he ran a corner post route and put the they got a post on the inside, then he's going to run the corner and the post. Got the DB on an island, bang. That stab to the outside is what set it up, and he bit for that like a dog looking for a treat. Way to make the play. That was his only catch of the day, and he made it count. Routed. Go ahead and bang that drum. Now up next, bottom of the screen, Utah's Derek Wright. Sheesh. Check it out. This is a simple goal line fade. Attacks the technique of the DB, freezes him up, and then he gets the space he needs. Bang, 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 explodes, catches it, and a little toe drag swag right there. 6 catches, 57 yards, and a touchdown for your boy. Way to get the guys routed, DBs. Shout out to my wide receivers.
You say routed so much cooler than I can. I say routed. Like, this doesn't sound as good for me. We like to get some rankings in on the show. Tomorrow, rankings reaction you can check out right here, 1 p.m. Eastern. I hang out with Michael Oak Jr. and Christine Williamson. So in honor of that, thought I'd give you what I think the Final Four by the end of the night will look like. And that, to me, is going to put Michigan. I think Michigan's going to get the convincing win over Iowa. And if Michigan does that, now we have a question of Michigan versus Alabama. Which one should be ranked higher? We're splitting hairs here. I think Michigan goes in at number 1. Michigan's loss at this point to Michigan State is actually a better loss than Alabama's loss to Texas A&M. So in a world where we're sort of carving these niches, they both have blowout wins against teams that were really well respected at the time. So I think that's the difference. I got Georgia at 3, Cincinnati at 4. And I don't know, as much as Georgia got cremated today, I don't know if Cincinnati could even move up to 3. Maybe I'm being delusional, but the just nasty taste in your mouth of what we just saw from Georgia, maybe they fall to 4? You buying?
It's a possibility, but I think your Michigan at number 1 might be a reach a little bit, Fitz, right now. And I only say this because we haven't seen Michigan play yet. What they do tonight is really going to determine whether they are going to land. You just smacked the number 1 team. They put up a 40-piece chicken McNugget on the Georgia defense.
Well, and I'm always curious. You never know with the committee. And the committee's going to make their decisions based on who they think the top 4 are, and they're going to tell us they don't consider matchups, and that's the way they should do it. It's a human element of this. Do we want to see Alabama, Georgia again on New Year's Eve?
That's so true.
I don't know, because I keep thinking about the playoff matchups.
I want them to get a little more time to let it sink in before they see each other.
I just wonder, the human element, if you're let's let Michigan take on Georgia and Alabama take on Cincinnati, which could lead us back to Alabama, Georgia for a net. I don't know.
I'd rather have that than see them in a couple weeks.
1 p.m. Eastern. Hang out with us for rankings reaction. The other thing we want to make sure we get in before we go, we want to. Cincinnati, got to give you some love. Luke Fickell, Desmond Ridder, holding up the trophy.
Hoist it.
I mean, absolutely incredible moment for that football program. Incredible moment for Coach Fickell, who is everybody thought a few days ago he might be at Notre Dame by today. He's not, right? So you never know what the future is going to hold. But for a team that's about to go into the Big 12, Cincinnati has made a very clear statement about where they are as a program. And I just keep thinking about that element of it. We're so convinced that the Big 12 is going to be left for dead. And now I'm watching a playoff team the Big 12. I don't think the Big 12 is going to have a playoff team, and the AAC will in the form of Cincinnati. So when Cincinnati makes that change, they're going to be the best. All right, speaking of the best, now we'll get to Harry Douglas. Harry's been a huge part of this show over the course of the year, and you also see him on all of our digital properties. He was named to the 2021 class of ACC football legends. He's a fantastic football player, but an even better human being. This is an incredible honor for an incredible dude. We love Harry so much on this show, and seeing the amount that he's been honored this year, by Louisville, by the ACC.
It's
just
a year of
incredible.
awards for Harry, and it's deserved. Great guy.
Yeah, and I don't know anybody that works harder. Harry will forget more football than most of us will ever know, and he's still grinding on tape, 12 hours a day, looking for little nuances. It's what makes Harry great. What makes this show great is everybody behind the scenes. This is our last college football show of the season. I wanted to make sure that we took a second and shouted out this production team. There's a lot of people that work their tails off.
Squad.
We could not do this show without every single name listed. I will take a second and say Sydney Wong is not only a close friend, but also just an amazing, amazing human being to work with. There is nothing I do at ESPN that I am more proud of than this show. It's an hour every week with no commercial, no safety net. It is a roller coaster. Scooby, I told him that the first day we ever met. I said, this is the show. And I still believe that. And it is the show because of that crew behind the scenes. We don't know what the hell we're doing, but they make sure that we don't lose. And that's, I can't say thank you enough to everybody behind the scenes. I cannot say thank you enough to you guys for giving us your Saturdays every single year. Every year, it's an honor to get to do this show. He's Skubie Mageza. I'm Jason Fitz. Thank you so much, not just for today, but for every Saturday that you've given us time on the College Football Show presented by AT&T 5G. Let's go.